Humans are social beings. Even the quietest, most introverted person you'd meet in your life would at some point long for human interaction. Why? Because at the end of the day, we all need and we all desire the warmth of another presence, exchanging attention, filled with love and respect. Conversations, as simple as it may sound, is actually very intricate. Not only is it a way of exchanging information, it also acts as a trigger for emotional and physical changes to the brain itself. When you engage in a conversation with someone, that conversation acts as a catalyst, boosting production levels of hormones such as endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, and many other biochemical substances, which in the end excite the body system, giving us a sense of well-being, and at the same time, altering the body's chemistry, not for just a moment, but potentially for a lifetime. As you now know, communication is essential for all of us. It achieves connection, of which connection is the foundation of a bond. And as we continue to evolve over time as humans, our way of communication also follows. One way of talking is not only heard, but it can also be seen, it can also be read. Expressing our words, expressing our sentences, not only can they be expressed by our mouths, they can also be expressed by our fingers. They do all the talking. And in less than a couple of minutes, or even a couple of seconds, I'm able to connect with anyone I know from around the world, you, or even you, at any given place and time I want. All in just a snap, and as easy as a snap of a finger. If you were to look at it back then, communication was nowhere near to how it is today. Despite our communication back then was more organic, it was much more limited. Let me bring you all to a journey. As we go 100 years ago, a century ago, back when Indonesia, the neighboring country, was once called the Dutch East Indies. In the 1920s, there was a family. A Dutch father, an Indonesian mother, and they both had 2 daughters together. But the term together was, however, short-lived. When their oldest daughter just reached 6 years old, she was faced with a devastating turn of events. Apparently, her father had to leave Indonesia to return back to his home country, the Netherlands, bringing his younger daughter with him. He went on the ship, saying his goodbyes along with his younger daughter, as he left his wife and his older daughter behind. And since the technology back then was so not advanced as how it is today, they're not able to connect beyond the seas. For as long as she lived, the daughter whom he left remained in Indonesia, whom she then met a man, whom she then had sons and daughters together, whom she then, one of those sons, I recognized as my grandpa. For as long as she lived, her story continued to bring tears to her eyes, and I can't help but imagine, if she were to live right now, in the present time, with all this technology, then surely she won't have to carry all her longing all the way to her deathbed. Indeed, social media changed the world. The very basis of social media in the first place is, without a doubt, to connect us. As a social media user like myself, I've been using social media since I was at the tender age of just 10 years old. And I loved it ever since. Every year, as me and my batch go up a grade together, there would always be one person in my batch who would leave school. And as sad as it may sound, I can always talk to him on Facebook. All just a text away. Like how everything starts in this world, everything comes from humble beginnings. The use of social media today, or should I say 2021, a year ago, was 4.48 billion people. Compare that to 2015, it was only 2 billion people. Now, on a yearly basis, the number of users using social media today, 2021, had more than doubled, from 2 billion to 2021. Now, from this data right here, you may think that we are more social. You may think that we are much closer. You may think that we are more connected. Well, are we? Because now there are studies saying that the use of social media today can actually be traced to depression, anxiety, and ironically, be feeling isolated. Now, what is going on? What is happening here? Why is it that when we try to connect, we became more unsocial? What is causing this paradox? Well, the answer to that is, back then, social media was deemed as a solution. It was deemed as a solution for our social system, hoping that it would bridge us across the distance, hoping it would make us more connected. But the social media today, that we are familiar with today, prove otherwise. As we closely look upon what social media is doing to our society, we see the cracks where instead of making us more social, it makes us more addicted. It makes us more isolated. The problem arises when it's the computers that we open and it's the doors that we shut. Our generation today is so much stuck with our devices that we often forget to look beyond our phones. We face repeated cycles of content after content after content, sitting, lingering, mindlessly scrolling, facing repeated cycles of instant gratification, diverting us from much more meaningful pursuits. I want you to imagine a family who booked a hotel one night. They dressed in lavish clothing. They booked the restaurant for one night, and off they go together in their own family car. As they reached their table, something was not right. Throughout their whole time together over there, not one word was uttered. Not one topic was discussed. They sit there, mindlessly scrolling through their phones without making eye contact, where their attention is not even at the table, it was not even at the restaurant. So can we say that we are more connected because of social media? Where despite what's far feels near, but what's near seems far? Why is it even important for us to even call upon our friends, our families to come over, when a group chat would do just fine? As we go deeper and deeper to the depths of social media, we become unaware and we tend to lose touch of the warmth of another presence. We find our purpose through the likes that we get, and we express our words through the text and the limited sets of emojis, lacking that what makes a relationship, lacking that emotional core of what drives a relationship. You begin to feel more comfortable in the realm of this digital world, putting all of that time in an illusion, in a play pretend for social inclusion, turning a blind eye from the social isolation. Imagine if 10 years from now, if little kids were to see adults today living like robots, should they not be able to see the spontaneous expressions of adults? What sort of expression do you think they'll show? If they cannot see the spontaneous expressions of smiling, laughing, even frowning, will there even be any expression at all in the future? Indeed, social media changed the world. But we should not dismiss social media as something that is downright bad. For surely there are good aspects that we can find from social media. For example, like the Facebook friend that I had, or my great-grandma, had she had the chance to rekindle her relationship with her father or even with her sister. But the problem here that I have with social media is the excessive use of it, where our method of communication was not improved, but rather replaced. Thus, we should all be mindful when it comes to using social media, and don't fall prey to the rabbit hole, sucking you in hours and hours. Find what you need and log off once you have done so. Not only is this a reminder for you, but this can also be a reminder for me. And there are moments where I even scrolled my phone hours and hours on end without even realizing it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us all engage in more conversations. And we can all start right here, right now. Look to your right, look to your left, talk to them, and be present in the moment when you're with them as you begin to exchange tension filled with love and respect. Because in the end, the best way to connect is to disconnect. Thank you.